The Vela Incident. The sensor spikes without warning. Two violent flashes rip across the satellite feed. So precise, they trigger an immediate nuclear alert. For a split second, the system thinks the world just changed forever. But there's no missile, no warning, no launch. Just a silent explosion in the middle of nowhere. September 22nd, 1979. High above the planet, a satellite built to catch the unthinkable locks onto something it was never supposed to see. And it doesn't hesitate. Its name? Vela 6911, designed for one purpose only: detect nuclear detonations anywhere on Earth. And nuclear explosions don't lie. They leave behind a signature no other event can replicate. First, a blinding burst of light, faster than the eye can process. Then, a second glow, slower, heavier, unmistakable. That night, over the empty stretch between the South Atlantic and Indian Ocean, the satellite detects both. A perfect double flash. Exactly what a nuclear explosion looks like from space. The system doesn't question it. It flags the event instantly, high confidence detection, because this pattern had only ever meant one thing before: a nuclear test, somewhere no one was supposed to be watching. Within minutes, the data is transmitted to analysts on the ground. What they see sends a chill through the room. The waveform is unmistakable. Two peaks, perfectly spaced, almost identical to previous confirmed nuclear detonations. They cross-reference it with archived test data. Every metric lines up: intensity, duration, separation. If this wasn't a nuclear explosion, it was something pretending to be one. The location raises even more questions. A remote stretch of ocean, far from trade routes, far from witnesses. A place where something could happen and leave almost no trace behind. But when officials begin asking questions, no country steps forward. Some analysts reach a quiet conclusion. This was deliberate. A secret nuclear test, hidden where no one would think to look. Whispers begin to circulate about covert cooperation. Nations working together, off the record. A test conducted in total secrecy. Far from land, far from witnesses, far from accountability. But there's a problem with that theory. No follow-up activity is ever detected. No additional tests, no movement, no pattern. If it was a test, it was a single, isolated event. And then, nothing. Others suggest something simpler. A malfunction in the satellite itself, a false signal, a glitch in a system orbiting thousands of miles above Earth. But that explanation doesn't sit right, because these satellites were built for one purpose, and they were good at it. Years of operation, hundreds of detections, and never a false double flash like this. Then the investigation turns to the atmosphere itself. If a nuclear blast occurred, traces of radiation should still be there. Sensors across the world begin scanning for fallout, tiny particles that would confirm what the satellite saw. And for a moment, it seems like they find something. Unusual readings, small anomalies in the data. But the evidence is weak. too inconsistent to prove anything. Not enough to confirm a nuclear explosion, but not enough to rule one out either. It's as if something happened out there, something powerful, and then erased almost every trace of itself. That's when the theory begins to shift. What if it wasn't a nuclear test at all? Because that double flash pattern requires an enormous, controlled release of energy. Something engineered, something precise. And if no nation created it, then something else did. Some scientists search for natural explanations, rare lightning, meteors, atmospheric anomalies. But none of them recreate the pattern. Not the timing, not the intensity, not the precision. Others suggest experimental technology, something classified, something far ahead of its time. But if it was technology, why was there never a second test? Why choose one of the most remote places on Earth and then never return? An official panel is eventually assembled to investigate. They review everything: data, patterns, possibilities. Their conclusion? Inconclusive. Not confirmed as a nuclear test. Not explained as a malfunction. Just unknown. Locked away as one of the Cold War's strangest mysteries. But the data never changed. The satellite recorded exactly what it was built to detect. A double flash in the middle of nowhere. A pattern that had only ever meant one thing. Until that night. Because if it wasn't a nuclear explosion, then something else produced it. Something powerful enough to mimic that signature. Something precise enough to fool the system completely. And whatever it was, it disappeared without a trace. No debris, no signal, no second event. Just one flash, then nothing. So the question isn't just what happened that night. It's what could possibly recreate that signal. Because whatever caused it matched a nuclear explosion perfectly. And if something out there can do that, then maybe it hasn't stopped. Maybe it's still out there, waiting for the next flash.
Thank you for listening. Please consider subscribing to my channel for more terrifying tales coming weekly. If you enjoyed this story, I have many more available in paperback worldwide on Amazon. Beyond the Campsite and Beyond the Campsite 2, A Trail Too Far.